Police swarm an Orlando neighborhood and engage in an hours-long standoff. What sparked that standoff and how it came to an end tonight.
This St. Cloud mother is accused of an unthinkable crime. What the sheriff says, she admitted to first responders and detectives.
And the season is on hold, but it's not canceled at Vieira High School. What's next for the football team after allegations of hazing?
Local, live, late-breaking. WESH 2 News starts now.
Now at 11, an hours-long standoff in Orlando's Paramore Avenue is finally over tonight. Police just released new information in the last hour.
3 kids are safe. 1 person was taken into custody. We have WESH 2's Liv Johnson, who was at that scene all afternoon and explains what triggered that standoff.
An Osceola mom is charged in the death of her teenage son. WESH 2's Luana Munoz joins us now in studio. And Luana, investigators say that she confessed to her son's killing.
That's right, Stu. This is 37-year-old Jasmine Kennedy. The sheriff's office says that she admitted to strangling her own 13-year-old son. Deputies were called to their home on Crossley Avenue in St. Cloud at around 7:30 this morning and found that boy unresponsive. The sheriff says they live with grandparents and Kennedy's other son, who's 5 years old. He says that a family member called 911. Sheriff Lopez says Kennedy admitted to choking him on the bed, both to first responders at the scene and detectives during an interview.
It's always a tragedy when someone so young is taken, regardless of how it's done, whether it's a car accident, or whether it's murder, whether it's an illness. You know, I wake up today at Monday morning, you know, when you hear this news, it's like you're getting hit with a brick. You know, somebody so young, their life was just taken from them.
Well, Kennedy is now facing charges of domestic battery by strangulation, child neglect, and aggravated child abuse. Sheriff Lopez says after the medical examiner determines the exact cause of death, the charges can be upgraded. Now, in the wake of this tragedy, grief counselors will be on site tomorrow at Canoe Creek K through 8th schools. Stuart, Michelle, back to you.
Luana, thank you. Vieira High School held a meeting for parents and players on the football team after an alleged hazing incident led to the coach being sidelined and the season put on pause.
WESH 2's Haley Crumblehome explains what came from tonight's meeting and what happens next.
Need to talk about the tropics now, and of course our team of meteorologists have been tracking 5 areas of interest out there. First wave meteorologist Marquise Mita joins us. Marquise, we're not too worried about these storm systems that are out there, but you guys are keeping a close eye on them.
Indeed, and some of them could pack a punch, but for the moment, everything here in Central Florida, calm, quiet. I'm liking it because I can talk about things that aren't affecting me directly, right? As you mentioned, Stu, we do have 5 different systems. Each of them is in a different phase of its progression, right? We have Tropical Depression 9 out in the Gulf, likely to become a tropical storm. Depression Gert, which has been downgraded from a tropical storm. The remnants of Emily outlined here in yellow. And here's Invest 92L, likely to show signs of intensification over the next 7-day stretch. We'll look at the strongest storm that we have right now with 50-mile-per-hour winds. That is Tropical Storm Franklin, just south of the Dominican Republic, likely to move north over the next 12 hours, making landfall over the next 2 days. So here's a look at the cone of uncertainty, right? That's going to place it over the Dominican Republic, likely by Wednesday in the afternoon with 50-mile-per-hour wind speeds. And then we'll see as it does move deeper into the Atlantic. Re-energizing is what's in its path, and we do see that opportunity for it to become a Category 1 hurricane. The models are showing great signs of agreement tonight, all placing it over the Dominican Republic, likely by Wednesday in the afternoon. And that's why we already have tropical storm warnings posted. But keep in mind, this system could potentially become a hurricane as it does reach warmer waters after exiting the Dominican Republic. We'll have a full look at the tropics coming up just around the corner and your 7-day forecast. Stay with us.
Marquise, thank you. We now know the name of a woman killed in a shooting this weekend in Orlando. Investigators say that 20-year-old Carolina Arcia and 2 other people were shot around 3:30 Saturday afternoon on Lee and 18th Street. Orlando police found them a few blocks away in a silver sedan. Arcia died and a man and woman were injured. Investigators have not shared any information about suspects in this shooting or what led up to the gunfire. They also have not released the names of the victims who survived.
This school safety officer or guardian for Lake County Schools was arrested on child sex abuse charges. Groveland police arrested James Wolf on Friday. He's charged with sexual battery of a child and giving obscene material to a minor. Lake County Schools says that Wolf was hired as a guardian this year at Mount Dora High School. He previously worked for the district as a custodian and in maintenance. According to Altamont Springs Police, Wolf used to work for them as a police officer and was later demoted to a civilian position before he was fired in 2010. Police in Altamont and Groveland are now working together to see if there are any more alleged victims.
Investigators in Seminole County arrested this man for allegedly touching a woman on a walking trail. Dakota Thompson was arrested by Castleberry police yesterday morning. A woman says that Thompson walked up to her on the Queenie walking trail and then touched her inappropriately. Another witness reported seeing Thompson touching himself on that same trail. He has been charged with battery.
Attorneys for former President Donald Trump worked out a $200,000 bond today in his racketeering case in Georgia. Trump says that he will surrender on Thursday. Trump still has a commanding lead in a new NBC News poll of Republican voters in Iowa. He leads with 42%, more than 20 points ahead of Ron DeSantis. The rest of the candidates polled are in the single digits.
New at 11, President Biden got a first-hand look today at the devastation caused by the deadly wildfires on Maui. Biden took an aerial tour of the damage along the coast 13 days after the deadly fires ravaged Lahaina. He and First Lady Jill Biden also met with first responders, state and local officials, and survivors of the fires. The president pledged his support to help Hawaii for as long as it takes.
The country grieves with you, stands with you, and will do everything possible to help you recover, rebuild, and respect culture and traditions when the rebuilding takes place.
At least 114 people died in the Maui fires. The death toll is expected to rise as crews search through the burn zone.
Tropical storm Hillary drenched Southern California from the coast to the desert. Here you can see water rushing over a busy roadway in Rancho Mirage. This is where flooding has led to a number of road closures. Now, despite a deluge of rain and powerful winds, officials in San Diego and Los Angeles say nobody died in the storm.
And we're standing here today saying that we had no loss of life and relatively minor impacts to property.
Reports thus far indicate that as of right now, there have not been any deaths or significant risk of injury.
Hillary was the first tropical storm to hit Los Angeles in decades, and now it is threatening Oregon and Idaho.
NASA says the Crew 7 mission set to launch from our Space Coast is ready to go.
It was a good review today of the Falcon 9 rocket, the Dragon spacecraft. We talked about the crew and the status of the space station. At the conclusion of the review, everybody polled go.
Astronauts arrived at the Kennedy Space Center yesterday. They'll launch early Friday morning in a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule and spend 6 months on the International Space Station. You can watch that launch live on WESH and on WESH.com.
Next at 11, we are tracking a lot of activity in the tropics. 5 areas of interest are brewing as we speak, where they're expected to have an impact and what we can expect for our workday tomorrow.
Citizens Insurance is being told to wait before raising its rates, while customers are getting a reprieve before a 12% hike.
And the Orange County mayor is recommending big cuts to projects planned with tourism tax dollars. What the future holds for hundreds of millions of dollars. Next.
From morning to night, WESH 2 First Warning weather is Central Florida's most accurate. Certified by WeatherAid, now for 16 years straight.
No matter the forecast, we'll help you plan for today.
And to prepare you for tomorrow.
From the first warning of severe storms to the perfect time to get outside.
We have the most accurate forecast around the clock.
That's our commitment to you.
Experience, accuracy, trust. WESH 2 First Warning weather.
Closed captioning sponsored by Morgan & Morgan. Dial #law on your cell phone.
WESH 2 News, honored with 3 regional Merle Awards, including overall excellence.
Orange County's mayor is recommending big cuts in the number and scope of projects that were earmarked for tourist development money.
WESH 2's Greg Fox reports the mayor and commissioners will face off tomorrow to debate hundreds of millions of dollars in spending. Regarding the Amway Center's request for funding, the city of Orlando says the enhancements within the scope of this project will benefit everyone that visits and uses Amway Center, and they're designed to ensure the arena remains a vital economic engine for generations to come. And from the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts, quote, "We hope to be considered for a portion of the funds we requested for the Arts Center project. It would be beneficial to get started on an additional major cultural destination."
International Drive is billions millions of dollars in developments planned this year and for years to come. In a meeting today with local leaders, the International Drive Chamber of Commerce discussed concerns and priorities for the future. Universal's Epic Universe, that's set to open in 2025, will bring more traffic to the tourism district. A plan to expand Kirkland Road will help improve the flow. Some renderings also showed a plan to build a pedestrian bridge nearby.
We want to make sure that we have improved safety. That was the biggest thing, is obviously creating capacity for cars to be able to come through, but also allowing opportunities for people who are walking, many people who walk up and down I-Drive and in some parts of Sand Lake.
There are also hopes to add more to attract people north of I-Drive.
Citizens Insurance is being told to hold on before raising its home insurance rates by 12%. The Florida Insurance Commissioner has told citizens to recalculate new rate increases. The order questions whether the proposed increases are actually justified in some parts of the state. Citizens says its lower rates undercut state efforts to push more policies back into the private market, and that higher rates are needed to make it more financially sound.
When we walked outside about 10 days ago at this time of night,
100 degrees.
It felt like 100 degrees. Much different out there right now.
Yeah, we'll take today any day. Let's get over to meteorologist Marquise Mita. Marquise, is it going to be like this again tomorrow?
It's going to be like this tomorrow, the next day, and the next day after that. We have a gorgeous weather pattern that lies ahead of us as we continue throughout the work week. And as we fall asleep tonight, temperatures are slowly cooling. Perfectly clear skies across Orange County with temperatures in the lower 80s here in Orlando. You show similar temperatures in Kissimmee and St. Cloud, 82 and 83 degrees, and we're already back in the middle of the 70s. Palm Coast sounds like a nice place to fall asleep to, 76 now as we move past the 11 o'clock hour. Radar shows nothing in sight. This is going to be a familiar picture all throughout the work week as high pressure is the dictating force in our forecast, which means we'll have a lot more clear skies still to come. Gotta love this here in Central Florida. Biggest story for today here in Central Florida were the wind speeds. We saw gusty conditions upwards of 20 miles per hour. Those winds have now fallen back, dying back to maybe 5 to 10 mile per hour speeds. Similar direction, though, all coming in off the coast of the Atlantic. That East Coast breeze is what we'll have to get familiar with this week. Also, we are getting familiar with developing conditions in the tropics. We talked about Tropical Storm Franklin to start the show, but let's move towards something closer to us. This is Tropical Depression 9, which is likely to become a tropical storm over the next 24-hour period, moving towards the west, racing in that direction at 18 mile per hour speeds with sustained winds of 35 miles per hour. You might be asking yourself, with sustained wind speeds of 35 miles per hour, why doesn't this storm have a name yet? Well, we don't have that vertical stacking in all levels of the atmosphere. A little bit of wind shear that separates the system right now. You see those outer bands of rain still attacking the Gulf Coast of Texas, in which we already have tropical advisories in place. As we mentioned, though, likely to show signs of further development by Tuesday morning. Tomorrow early, we could have our next tropical storm on our hands, continuing to move further out towards the west, likely as it hits landfall to deteriorate, become a tropical depression once again, but likely we will show that tropical storm making landfall on Tuesday. Warnings are all outlined here in blue. Tropical storm watch as we move closer to the I-10 corridor. Texas getting some much needed rain in relief from the heat, but we do show increased chances for possible storm surge and flash flooding. Elsewhere in the tropics, this is what's left of Tropical Storm Emily, just the remnants of the system now. Possible signs of redevelopment later in the work week and across the early weekend. Only a 20% chance moving over warmer waters. Here's what does show greater signs of further development. This is Invest 92L moving out towards the west very slowly, and the slower it moves, the greater chances we have for further development down the line. For us, your futurecast does show dry conditions tonight. Perfectly clear skies are what you crawl out of bed to early tomorrow morning. Increased chances for showers, though, across I-75 later in the afternoon. A little bit of clouds moving across north of the I-4 corridor late on Tuesday night, but your better chance for clouds and rain that comes your way over the course of the late weekend on Sunday and possibly into Monday coming up. Got a bit of a trough moving in from the Gulf, increasing your chance for rain as we move into Monday coming up. But temperatures are pretty uniform across the board. We have a mix of low and mid 90s with loads of sunshine lying ahead.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is accusing Meta of putting profits over people's safety during the country's wildfire emergencies.
Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, announced it would keep its promise to block news content on its platforms in Canada due to a law requiring it to pay publishers for linking or repurposing their content. That includes stories about the devastating fires which forced tens of thousands of people to evacuate. Trudeau says people need that information, but that Facebook chose profits over public safety. Meta says Canadians can use its platform to connect with their communities and access information despite not being able to share or view news articles.
Nissan is recalling nearly 250,000 Sinatras because drivers can lose steering control. The automaker says the front suspension rod can bend on certain impacts like hitting a curb, and once that happens, you can lose the ability to steer the car. If your car is impacted, you will be notified in October to come in for an inspection and possible repairs.
The end is near, the beginning almost here. This Saturday, the Bucs will welcome the Baltimore Ravens for their last game of the preseason.
Okay, but it seems like the question is, who is the quarterback going to be? Kristen is joining us now. Do we have any answers?
Well, Todd Bowles keeping an air of mystery to this. So the short answer, no, we don't have any answers yet, saying he still needs time to evaluate his options. Coming up, though, we are going to take a deeper look at the QB battle and what we may see on Saturday as the Bucs hold their final preseason game. All of that just ahead.
WESH 2 Sports is sponsored by Mullinax Ford, Florida's largest Ford retailer. For upfront pricing and no dealer fees, shop Mullinax, where car buying is simple, easy, fun. Now, WESH 2 Sports, sponsored by Mullinax Ford.
One more week, everybody. Hello and welcome back. I'm Kristen Lago. Just one more week of the NFL preseason for the Buccaneers. One more game for head coach Todd Bowles to see Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask taking live game reps. The quarterback battle ongoing in Tampa. Bowles speaking yesterday about what he's hoping to see this weekend. We'll be right back.
This First Warning weather update is sponsored by the law offices of Dan Newland Injury Attorneys.
WESH 2 First Warning weather and traffic gets you moving in the right direction.
Whether it's planning your forecast or analyzing the best routes for your commute.
From rainy skies to bumper,
Start your day with us, because our day starts with you.
Labor Day weekend is less than 2 weeks away, and AAA says more people are booking travel than last year. Domestic travel bookings are up 4%, and international bookings are up 44%. The 5 most popular destinations are Seattle, Orlando, Anchorage, New York, and Las Vegas.
We are biased to one. We won't tell you which one. That's our show tonight. WESH 2 News is always on at WESH.com and the WESH 2 News mobile app.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow night.